It's always tough coming up last because I'm standing between you and the alcohol in the bar. So I'm gonna keep it quiet, keep it quick. I'll be up for 15, 20 minutes, and then you'll be able to get over there and have a beer. I've got a couple of things to talk to you about today. I put up on the screen here. It says, "Don't fear change, embrace it." And I wanted to tell you a little bit of a personal story first before I then move into how I engage and connect that into retail, which is kind of really what I want to talk to you about today. Was over the last 10 years, I set up my own design consultancy, and it was focusing on customer experience and particularly within retail spaces. And it grew, and it was going really well. It was going really well, and we got 2 or 3 offices and got 40 people, and I was like, wow, getting really into it. And I got really comfortable because I was delivering the same solution for all my customers. Bupa for fashion, in fashion or retail or automotive, didn't really matter. It was the same idea. It was the same process that we were delivering, and it was the same output that we were giving. It was just a different brand, and it was a different product, and it was a different way in look and feel. But essentially, it was exactly the same. And I was getting happy. And well, I'm just going to, there we go. I was really happy. I was happy in what I was doing. I was comfortable in the way that I was delivering it. And I wanted quickly to ask everyone, what is happy? What is happiness? And how does that ensure, and what does that mean from a design and prosperity perspective? For me, I was in control. I was happy being in control, and that control allowed me to make money. And there was my prosperity. And I was like, okay, this is great. But something happened last year. Something really profound happened. One day, I got a phone call to say that my partner got meningitis. And within 24 hours, my world changed. Everything I knew about it, everything I knew about being happy was out the window. I was told that within 12 hours, your partner will die or they will not. And there's nothing you can do about it. I was like, wow, okay, my life I've been given a crossroads that I didn't even know or expect was coming. And that unknown was what was so scaring me, because I was like, what do I do? What happens tomorrow if he doesn't actually make it through? I have a 3-year-old daughter who I'll introduce you to later on in the presentation. My life, I've got it under control. I know what I do. I know what I do on a Monday morning. I know how to organize my life on a Saturday morning. Everything's in control. But it was the fear of the unknown. It was when we got through that and we actually said, oh, by the way, he's okay. He's fine now. But once I'd got free, I go, oh my goodness, I'm looking at a world that I don't know. And what does that look like? And once I actually understood and said, oh, there's okay. I've survived that last 24 hours. I've survived. I've opened my eyes, and I suddenly realized there was a whole lot of other things happening outside the world that I just was not connecting with, because I was so in the moment, under control, and looking at designing projects for my clients that I wasn't taking advantage or looking outside and seeing all these amazing new technologies and products that we are seeing all day today. I didn't even know they existed, because what I was delivering was exactly what I'd been delivering for the last 7 or 8 years. So today's conversation is about design, yes, but it's also about the power of the unknown, and taking the unknown and using it, embracing it, and actually enhancing and using it to say, well, and question what is going to be next, and how do we improve it, and how do we challenge what we have in front of us, and how do we as designers make it better for the end user in Cape Town, or for the video community, or the little burners. I thought that was amazing, that product, absolutely fantastic. So, but it was the unknown of everyone today had that common theme of being able to say, I'm doing something different than nobody else is doing. I'm stepping into the unknown, and that's okay. Consumer behavior, as we all know, has changed more in the last 5 years than it has in the last 50. And in those 5 years, I was so busy doing my thing that I forgot to look and see what was actually happening within retail. Retail was my expert area. It was a place that everyone knew me for. I designed retail experiences, but I forgot to understand 3 components of it. And I want to talk about that in a minute. But it was those components that suddenly realized I was not delivering truly great design for my customers. I was delivering what I thought was good design, but it actually wasn't what the consumers were thinking, or what the consumers and the customers of tomorrow were actually needing. So a lot of my clients, or previous clients, were part of this little group called the Fockers, the fear of change. We all know them. They're on our high street, and that group of Fockers are everywhere. In fact, in Australia, there's 74% of retailers are in the group, the Fockers. So that means that only 24% of retailers that are retail companies within Australia are actually embracing change, embracing new technologies, and are actually understanding the consumers and the customers of tomorrow as opposed to where they've been. When I got back, to go back to my story of the fear of the unknown, I suddenly, when I did wake up and I did look around and I suddenly was challenging and questioning everything I was doing, I suddenly looked at the business I was in and said, you know what? I'm stale. I need a time out. I need to move away and do something differently. So I sold my 50% in the company, which was much to everyone's shock. Everyone was like, you can't leave. You built the company. It's yours. And I'm like, yep, and I'm going to leave it in 3 weeks' time. Here you go. And I handed it over to my business partner and to everyone else. And I packed my bags, and I took my partner and my daughter, and we went around the world for 3 months. We had no idea where we were going. We just bought a ticket, and we went. And it was the best, most liberating thing in the world because we stepped into the unknown. And it was very scary that day. We went to the airport of Sydney, and I didn't even know if I was even going to come back to Australia. I'd lived in London for 10 years. You can tell them, obviously, I'm Scottish. I was growing up there. I was like going, what's next? Where do I go? Where do I want to go? I'm scared. So what do? I want to go back to what I used to know. I want to go back to the UK. But we didn't go there first. We went to the US first. We went to Israel. We went to other places that we'd never been before. And we got ourselves out of the comfort zone. And we got ourselves out of the way that we had been normally doing things. So by the time I got to the UK, I was actually in a really great space. And I was embracing that change and embracing what was seeing and seeing life through new eyes. I got back just before Christmas, and I had two experiences. And when I was away, I was doing a lot of shopping because I kind of enjoy shopping. And there's a much better, especially in New York. I was there and I was buying shoes and everything else because the experience of retail is so much far superior than it is here. And what really I noticed was the complete fusion of the digital and the retail experiences. I wanted a pair of new shoes. I walked into this great retail store. They didn't have my size, and the lady sat down beside me with her iPad and said, not a problem, sir. Is this the size you want? I said, yep. She said, I'll have it to your hotel by 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Would you like to pay for that now? And I'm like, sure, I'll pay for that now. 4 o'clock the next day, I got the phone call in the motel room. Sir, you got a parcel downstairs. And I'm like, wow, that's retail. That's the way that we should be doing it. That's what we should be. That's the retail experience that I've been talking to or hoping we would see in Australia with the 76% of retailers, the Fockers, who just were not getting it. I came back just before Christmas. I tried to do my Christmas shopping. I went into one of our well-known national IT kind of hardware, software companies, and they said, "Oh," I asked for a product to buy something. They said, "Oh no, we don't have that in stock." No. I said, "Well, could you go to get into stock?" "Oh no, sorry, mate. No, you'll have to go to the one in Auburn, or you have to go to the one in Campbelltown, or you'll have to go out there to one of the other stores because, that's just too hard for me to do." And I'm like, I'm trying to spend $500 with you, and you don't want my money. And they said, yeah, no, that's okay. It's not my thing, because we're a franchise, so it doesn't bother me, so you just go somewhere else. I know, incredible. And after having such an amazing experience of retail abroad and then coming back here, I was just going, wow, something's got to be done. There's a new conversation have to have with our friends in the retail world here in Australia. And that was supported by a conversation that I had with one of my fashion retail clients about 2 weeks after I started getting back out there in January. And he called me in and he said, Oh, Robbie, so lovely to see you. We're doing things differently this year. We're going to do something. We're going to break the mold. And I'm like, fantastic. So nice to hear you say that. What are you doing? And he went, well, we went around the world. We had a look at all our competitors that we inspired by, and we think that this whole interconnected thing is not going to work. And I said, what do you mean it's not going to work? And he said, it's all about simplicity. All customers want to do is see them piled high in a big poster saying, for sale, in bright colors. And that's all they want. They don't want all this complicated things with your iPhone, and we don't want to put in a digital experience. I don't want to put iPads in my shop floor. That's confusing. That's taking away from what I want, because I want their money. That's all I want. I don't care about the experience I give them. I just want their dollars, their hard-earned dollars. And in fact, I'm going to turn the prices up, and I'm going to make the posters bigger, and they're going to come in droves. I said, oh, okay. So who's your customer? He went, oh, I've been doing this for 28 years, Robbie. I know my customer. I'm like, good for you. Good for you. I'm glad that you know your customer. Jack Welch, a former CEO of IBM, turned around and said, when the pace of change of innovation outside your organization is faster than the pace of change inside your company, then it's time to get out. It's time to stop. And that, my fashion client, that was a clear example. And I said to him, I said, good for you. Good luck. And I never called him again. Because he will become, and we've seen poor Kodak. Oh my God, what a bashing it's got today. I think about 4 or 5 of us have all brought up, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm just going to be here again talking about Kodak. So I won't, but I will put it up there. And I think that image really does say it all for where poor Kodak went, and so many other retailers, particularly within Australia, have got the propensity of going in that direction if they don't do some very simple things, and some things we're going to talk about, and which is about how do we going to fix it. Now, I don't make amazing products. I don't come up, and I'm not an industrial designer. I don't come up with, but I do know 2 things. I know people, and I know how processes, and I know how to help and guide people to get from one point A to point B. And over the next few slides, I just wanted to give you some tips, some examples, and some guidance around how, if I was going to fix it, what I would do. And the great thing about it is that the 3 key points here have been talked about and discussed all day. So there's nothing new here, but it's good to validate what everybody else is saying. First, I told you I'm going to introduce you to my daughter. Here's Sophie. It's me in the park last Sunday. And what is she? So Sophie's 3. And in 10 years' time, she will be our customer of the future. She is Gen Z. Oh my goodness. She's already buying, by the way. I don't know why I've said in 10 years' time, because she's already coming, Daddy, can I have your credit card? She knows how to swipe the credit card in the store already. It's very scary. But she's 24 hours, she's connected 24/7. She doesn't just look at a screen the way that we do. She actually looks through it and engages with it in an augmented way that is far superior to even I. I don't get it. I don't understand it. She is going to be a co-designer, and already is a co-designer of the toys she plays with. She actually wants to, and will be able to start looking at co-creating and designing her toys the way that she wants it. And we're already seeing it. We talked about it again earlier on. 3D printing. That is fundamentally going to change the way that we will see retail. The big pile them high, stack them high with the big signs, that's gone. Those days are gone. Because the consumers of tomorrow are going to be able to go in and say, I want red t-shirt, I want this shoes, I want this hair, and they'll be able to go along, print it in a button, and it will be there in front of them, rather than just being able to walk in and say there's 200 of exactly the same. That's no longer the world we're going to be living in. The second point, which again I love, is the fact that storytelling through everything, product design that we talked about, and connecting with everyone, multicultural societies and people at all different levels of society. What comes back to the way that we engage is and prosper and design is through the way that we tell a story. And it's the emotional connection that we have with that story that will allow us to remember it. Over the last 2 years, more data has been generated by us all than in the last 200. That's not going to stop. That's going to continue. 5,000 marketing messages are bombarded at you every single day. I don't know where they are, but they're there. Statistics have told me. So, how do you bring from a retail perspective or a design perspective, how do you co-create with your consumers to tell a story, to allow your product to rise above everybody else's, to ensure that at the end of the day when they go to sleep, they go, I remember 3 things. And one of them is your product. The other one probably is what they're doing next week and what they have for dinner. But that doesn't matter. The fact is they're remembering your product or remembering the story that you have told. Because it's those stories that allow us to then connect all of these amazing different touch points that are now open to us and that are able for us to connect by retail or directly with a product, that allow us to connect all those together to create that multi-layers that allow any of them, myself, Elaine, my colleague Nicola up there, we all want different things from the same product. But it's the gateways and the way that we actually connect with that product will allow us to personalize that story and make it then so I have a tangible connection with it, therefore I will choose to purchase it. And it's the multi-layering of those stories is what is different from what it was 10 years ago, because we didn't have 80 or 90 touch points within retail that we do now. We had 6 or 7. But we have, 80 or 90. We could, in some instances, we have over 300 different touch points, all for us to connect to purchase one product. That's complicated. So how do we see through that? How do we get through that? Well, it's through 2 things. First, it's about ensuring that we connect all of those experiences together into a meaningful storyline, into a meaningful journey that people want to go on. But it's not just about the story, it's about the places that you actually find it. It's about the information that you provide, and it's about the people. And this is the important part from my perspective. It's the people who then deliver it that allow you to remember the product or the places they go. So it's a humanistic approach. So it's taking data and taking technology and humanizing it that will allow retailers to stand forth. I've got a little video which hopefully will work, that I found actually was doing some research on today, and I found an IBM actually developed it, but I thought it was quite fun and I thought it was quite pertinent around today's conversation around future and the design in the next 5 years.
Local stores have been getting spanked by online retailers for years. And last year's spanking was more painful than ever, as online sales for the first time topped $1 trillion worldwide. Ouch. But in 5 years, brick and mortar stores will have fought back to become better than e-tailers can ever hope to be, merging the tactility and immediacy of physical retail with the richness and personalization of online. Local shops will make online-only stores seem downright quaint. Advances in augmented reality, wearable computing, and location-based technologies will give shoppers richer in-store experiences. And as consumers share more personal information, they'll see retail stores transform into immersive shopping destinations personalized just for them. Store staff, meanwhile, will be expert on every product in the store. Buyers will tap cloud-based cognitive systems to get a clear understanding of their customers and plan store inventory more precisely. So you can be sure they have just your style and just your size, and can even offer same-day delivery wherever you are. Honey, does this future make me look fat? Not at all.
Fantastic. The final thing, we talked about connected experience here. The second point is around design. and putting design at the heart of the decision-making process and the journey experience mapping process to when you actually look at customers and the way customers want to interact with your product and with retail. So we've got the customers, we've got the journey, we've got the story, and we've now got design. That's the ingredients that will make and help to allow our retailers to prosper and to change and to get out of that group, that horrible group of the Fockers that a lot of them are currently sitting within. And to do something that really does set apart, which is to deliver truly memorable experiences. Not just ones they go, oh, that's nice. But really they go, wow, you've just challenged the norm. You've done something different that I did not expect you to do, Mr. Bank or Mr. Fashion House or Mr. IT company, because you've just taken me outside the comfort zone of what I expected you to do from a retail perspective. And the reason being is that we'll be moving into the next 2 years into the age of the customer. Sophie and her peers are going to be able to change the way that brands prosper. Because through mass consumption, through their mass ability to all connect through the digital platforms, they will be able to make or break, change or update, influence the way that your products will succeed or not. So rather than not embracing that, let's embrace it and take it forward and actually ensure that it's actually part of the storytelling and the psyche to allow us to deliver great retail by 2020. Because the old thing is just the customer is king. It's back. It's back in vogue. It's back in fashion. The bottom line was what a lot of retailers were looking at, and we're forgetting about those pesky little thing called customers. Well, now the customers have got a voice, and it's the voice that's going to dictate the bottom line, and it's those customers going to dictate the bottom line. So what does change look like? Well, 5 key points, and then we're finished. And I promise you it's a couple of minutes, and then you're off to the bar. Start a conversation with your customers, and I mean a true conversation. I don't mean just come into a research room, show them a couple of products, and stand back behind a glass mirror and go, oh, yeah, that's nice. Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, they like that. Good, tick, and move on. Actually get them part of that process to deliver and co-create. We talked about it, a few people, Fish and Pike were co-creating. That was fantastic. I saw that coming through. And a couple of other people today were talking about co-creation. So it's not new. But what is going to be new and interesting as we move in is the fact that it's going to be done at a mass level. So could you imagine the whole of Cape Town coming up with design ideas and having the influence and the empowerment to make those changes and see their ideas come to life in the smallest things a part of their life, in the way that the buses are interchanging, or the way that they do use money or use credit cards to do it. But by able to empowering everybody in the whole city to have that voice and to have a platform for them to contribute will allow us all to move forward as people. And to take to remove that unknown step of, oh, well, we don't really know what they think, so we'll just not ask them. Well, let's ask them and get them and involve them as part of that. To crowdsource an entire city, how cool would that be? And if we can do that, then we will be 24-hour connected. Tomorrow will be connected, and the world we will live in will be truly different than the one we are today. And I think we're going there anyway, so we might as well love the unknown, embrace fear, embrace change, because it's actually really good for us. Thank you.